It began with a headline. A simple, 7-word headline that exploded across social media feeds before dawn. Dakota Johnson and Sam Heughan, secret romance. Within hours, the story had spread like wildfire, tabloids, gossip blogs, Twitter threads, fan edits on TikTok. By noon, #Dakota and Sam was trending in 30 countries. Dakota Johnson woke up to 237 unread messages and a migraine that felt like a thunderstorm behind her eyes. She sat up in bed, squinting at the soft glow of her phone. The notification banner flashed again. Her publicist, her agent, her assistant, her mother. Even Chris Martin, her quiet, steady boyfriend, had texted. "Want to tell me why the world thinks you're in love with a Scottish actor?" Dakota groaned and flopped back onto her pillow. "Not again," she muttered. This was Hollywood. Truth and fiction blurred daily, but this rumor, this one, hit differently. Because Sam Heughan wasn't just another co-star, he was her current co-star. They were filming The Last Ember, a sweeping historical romance about two broken souls who found redemption in war. The chemistry on screen was undeniable. That much she knew. What she didn't expect was for the internet to turn their acting into evidence. She could already hear her publicist's voice. "We need to control the narrative before it controls you." By 9 a.m., Dakota was in a conference room at the Beverly Hills Hotel, facing a trio of very tense faces. Marla, her PR manager, with a phone glued to her hand. Ethan, her agent, nervously stirring a cup of black coffee. And Lily, her assistant, typing furiously on a laptop. Marla didn't waste time. "Okay, Dakota, here's what's happening. Entertainment Weekly, People, and the Daily Star are all running variations of the story. Some claim you were seen having dinner with Sam at Chateau Marmont. Others say you were holding hands at the wrap party." Dakota raised an eyebrow. "We were holding scripts. It's called rehearsal. Ideographic period. Twitter doesn't care," Marla said flatly. "We need a statement." Ethan added, "Sam's team hasn't said anything yet. If he stays quiet, the press will keep milking it." Dakota sighed. "So, what do we do? Deny? Confirm? Ignore?" Marla tapped her nails against the table. "Deny, obviously, but gracefully. We'll frame it as mutual respect between professionals, something clean, neutral, boring." Dakota leaned back. "You mean something no one will believe?" Marla smirked. "Exactly." Lily glanced up from her laptop. "Sam just tweeted." All heads turned. Dakota froze as Lily read aloud. "I have immense admiration for Dakota Johnson as an artist and friend. Any other suggestion is false, but flattering." Winking face. Marla groaned. "Oh, for God's sake," he added a winking emoji. Dakota buried her face in her hands. "He's Scottish, Marla. They wink at everything." "Not at a scandal." Ethan muttered. "Well, at least he denied it." Marla's eyes narrowed. "Half denied it. The emoji makes it sound almost true." Dakota exhaled slowly, staring at the ceiling. This is going to be a long week. 2 days later, Dakota appeared on The Tonight Show to promote the film. She'd done this 100 times before. Smile, banter, tease the movie, avoid controversy. But the host, Jake Morton, had other plans. So, he began, flashing a grin that spelled trouble. "The internet's been very busy talking about you and your co-star, Sam Heughan. Should I be shopping for a wedding gift?" The audience erupted in laughter. Dakota forced a polite smile. "Oh, you mean my fake husband from Scotland?" The audience laughed again. Jake leaned forward. "So there's no truth to the rumors?" She kept her tone cool but playful. "Only if you count truth as us standing near each other while being paid to act." The crowd cheered. Jake looked delighted. "So, no midnight dinners? No secret hand-holding?" Dakota tilted her head. If I held every co-star's hand, I'd have carpal tunnel. The audience roared, but behind her poised exterior, she felt a familiar flicker of irritation. It wasn't Jake's fault, not entirely. It was the machine, the endless cycle of assumption, denial, speculation, repeat. After the show, she exhaled in her dressing room, tugging off her heels. Her phone buzzed again. This time, it was Sam. Sam, you handled that like a queen. Crown sorry about the chaos. Drinks after we wrap filming? Dakota, if you promise not to wink again. Sam, no promises. Winking face, she smiled despite herself. Filming resumed in Prague. The last Ember had reached its most emotional scenes, the kind where every glance and breath felt charged. On camera, their chemistry burned. Off camera, things began to blur. One night after filming, they stayed behind on set, sitting near the old stone wall where their characters had kissed for the first time. Sam leaned back, gazing at the night sky. Funny thing about rumors, he said quietly. They make you question what's real. Dakota glanced at him. You sound philosophical for a man with 10 million Instagram followers. He chuckled. What about you? Do they ever get to you? She hesitated. They used to. I spent years trying to correct lies. Then I realized, truth doesn't trend. Sam looked at her, thoughtful. Still, sometimes lies start close to truth. For a heartbeat, silence hung between them, heavy, magnetic. Dakota looked away. Don't make me add fuel to the fire, Ewan. He grinned. Wouldn't dream of it. But that night, as she returned to her hotel room, Dakota couldn't shake the feeling that something unspoken had passed between them. Not romance, something subtler. A mirror, reflecting two actors trapped in the same spotlight, both trying to be seen for who they really were. Weeks later, just as the film was nearing completion, a paparazzi photo surfaced. Dakota and Sam walking together in Prague, laughing, his hand resting lightly on her back. The tabloids spun it into gold. Ideographic period, caught in Prague. Sam and Dakota can't hide their chemistry off set. The internet exploded again. Chris Martin called. His voice was calm, too calm. Should I be worried? Chris, she said softly, it's a picture. He's a friend. Ideographic period, I know, he replied after a pause. But sometimes, the world doesn't. When she hung up, she felt something cold settle in her chest, not guilt, but exhaustion. By morning, her PR team had issued another statement. Ideographic period, Dakota Johnson and Sam Heughan maintain a purely professional friendship. Any other interpretation is false. But by then, the truth no longer mattered. The narrative had a life of its own. The following week felt like a storm that would not pass. Every news outlet carried the same loop, the laugh, the hand on her back, the headline. Memes appeared. Fans split into camps. Some defended her, others accused her of betraying Chris. Her phone buzzed constantly. Every ring sounded like a reminder that she no longer owned her own story. On the fourth day, she shut it off and drove north out of Prague until the city lights faded. When the road ended, she parked beside a field, stepped out into the cold air, and finally let herself breathe. No cameras, no whispers, just wind. She thought about how simple things had been at the start of her career. Tiny sets, endless takes, no expectations except to do good work. Somewhere between 50 Shades and The Last Ember, she had become both person and product. Her phone vibrated again. She almost ignored it, but the name on the screen stopped her. Sam Heughan. She answered. You should be asleep. Ideographic period, so should you, he said gently. They're eating you alive online. I turned the internet off. Ideographic period, I wish I could. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Sam said quietly, come back to set tomorrow. Don't let them win. Dakota smiled faintly. You sound like my therapist. Ideographic period, maybe I just miss my scene partner. She hesitated. Sam, this rumor, it's not your fault, but it's hurting people. Ideographic period, I know, he said. And I hate it. Maybe it's time we tell the truth. The truth? Ideographic period, that we're just two actors who respect each other. Ideographic period, that won't sell, she said bitterly. Then let's make honesty scandalous, he replied. 2 days later, Sam appeared live on Good Morning Britain. The host smiled like a cat who already knew the answer. So, Sam Heughan, she said, tell us about your relationship with Dakota Johnson. He took a slow breath. My relationship with Dakota is one built on admiration, humor, and hard work. She's brilliant, but we are not, nor have we ever been, romantically involved. The host pressed. Not even a spark. Sam smiled. Only the kind our director pays for. The audience laughed, but then he leaned forward, voice softer. What bothers me isn't the rumor, it's how quickly people want to believe women can't succeed beside men without romance attached. Dakota deserves better than gossip. That clip went viral within hours. Fans reposted it with hashtags like #RespectDakota and #TruthMatters. By evening, her phone was flooding again, but this time with kindness. When Dakota returned to set, the air felt lighter. Crew members smiled, extras clapped quietly. Sam walked toward her, holding 2 coffees. For the Queen of Calm, he said. She laughed. You made me a feminist icon. You already were one, he said. They filmed their final scene that night, the goodbye between their characters, a moment raw with unsaid feelings. When the director yelled, cut, no one moved. The energy between them hung like static. Dakota finally said, you didn't have to defend me on TV. Ideographic period, I did, he replied simply. Because you wouldn't defend yourself that way. You're too gracious. She looked at him for a long moment. You're a good man, Sam. He grinned. Tell Twitter. She laughed so hard the tears came, real this time. A month later, the movie premiered in London. Cameras flashed, microphones thrust forward, and somewhere beyond the noise, Dakota spotted Chris waiting for her. He smiled, a small, honest smile that said, I know. After the red carpet, they walked hand in hand through the crowd of photographers. One shouted, Dakota, are you and Sam still in touch? She stopped, turned toward the cameras, and said clearly, yes. He's my friend, and sometimes friendship is the purest form of love there is. The room fell silent for a heartbeat before applause broke out. That quote became the next day's headline. Dakota Johnson, friendship can be love too. It turned the whole narrative upside down. Instead of scandal, there was sincerity. Months later, when awards season arrived, the last Ember earned nominations for cinematography, screenplay, and, ironically, best on-screen chemistry. Dakota and Sam presented an award together at the Golden Globes. Backstage, he leaned close and whispered, still friends? Always, she said, even when the internet forgets. He laughed softly. They'll move on to the next rumor tomorrow. Let's hope it's about aliens, she said. When they stepped on stage, the crowd roared. Cameras flashed again, but this time, Dakota didn't flinch. She smiled into the lights, thinking about the strange gift the scandal had given her, the chance to own her truth. Later that night, scrolling through photos from the event, she saw one shot of her and Sam laughing mid-sentence, unguarded, human. She saved it to her phone under the name, The Real Story. Then she turned the screen off, leaned back beside Chris, and let the world spin without her. A journalist from Vanity Fair interviewed her for a reflective piece. The final question was simple. After everything that happened, what did you learn? Dakota thought for a moment, then smiled. That the truth doesn't need to shout. It just needs to last. And somewhere in Scotland, Sam Heughan read the article, smiled, and sent a text that said only, "Still scandalous to be honest." Winking face, she replied with one word, ideographic period, always.